Happy Monday, everybody. Oh boy, what a weekend, right? Super Bowl weekend, parties, oh man, food, libations, you name it, right? What a great game, too. What a great game. And I want to thank everybody that supported us last week as we kicked off our weekly launch. And this month, we're going to have a message every week around Black History Month. And appreciate everybody's support for real, for real. And those of you that are new and you hear us for the first time, please make sure you tag, share, and subscribe. YouTube listeners, LinkedIn listeners, Facebook, please keep showing up. We need your support. We love your support. We want to hear from you. So drop a comment on where you're from and what you can do or what we can do for you, right? So listen, hey, you know, I put this comment together, I put it in here. Why two black starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl? Why such a big thing? And if you will allow me just to kind of share a little bit about my experience as a man of color around this subject, right? I mean, and they said it, they mentioned it during the game. And by the way, man, my wife laid out, I had some great food. I don't know everybody else did, but we had snacks. I'm doing all this, man, I'm still great food, great time. And so I'll get back to what we're talking about. Anyhow, so listen, I mean, when they made that comment, it just screamed in my ears, right? And I thought about how many people don't care about the significance of that, how many people have some idea, but they're wondering why they're saying it, and some people know. Because it talked about two African American quarterbacks for the first time leading teams into the Super Bowl, a game at that level, right? And do you really? So I wanted to just kind of take you back a couple steps to kind of share about some things that hopefully the goal really, right, is if we don't know something about something, then we're ignorant to the facts, right? And ignorance, I looked it up, is lack of knowledge or information. It's ignorance. Not a bad person, anything else like that, but lack of knowledge or information. And knowledge, check this out. Here's a powerful thing about knowledge. Information, awareness of, or familiarity gained by experience of a fact or situation. So I am going to share my experience and facts around some of the backdrop of the struggles for men of color to gain the quarterback position and why, right? And I grew up, you know, our parents, man, they loved us to death. There was five of us, and I'm who I am today because of my parents, man. They were goal-driven, focused, determined. Boy, they did everything they could to give us everything we needed. And one of those things was getting us to a school that had great academics and athletics. So we went to this school, right? And it was a school that was predominantly white, but it was a mixture of ethnicities, Greek, Irish, all these types of things, right? So and a small minority of people of color. And we played sports together. And as I got better and grew up, you know, and had a goal being in the NFL, I had buddies that were quarterbacks, should have been quarterbacks, right? And as we got into the high school level and freshman and junior, sophomore playing at that level, you know, these guys that should have been quarterbacks ended up being wide receivers or defensive backs. And I'm scratching my head and I'm wondering. But then we didn't pay attention to the guys ahead of us who also had the abilities, who also ended up on the defensive end, who also ended up on the wide receiving end. And finally, we got into the right circles, you know, and one of my coaches even said, "Jeff, listen, you know, it's just not going to happen." I grew up school in the '70s, and the time when, you know, the quarterback position, for those of you that don't know, is a position of leadership. It's the face of the team, all these things, right? And it just was not going to happen, no matter how great the athlete was. And so, you know, this is fast forwarding, go to college, right? Like D1, I'm almost to the NFL. And man, these quarterbacks coming in were killer quarterbacks. Same situation. Not as much, though, because college, hey, we wanted to win at a level that didn't really matter as much. But in the NFL, though, when the ownership is 98% one way, there's two owners in the NFL now, maybe a third one from the NASCAR connection and Condoleezza Rice. So there's a minimal ownership and influence in that position. So why am I talking about all this and why? You know, because we need to understand that, you know, when when you hear people talk about systemic racism, that maybe there is something to it. And we can all learn from listening to those that have been through it. And we can all do our own research around it, right? And Conversations with Jeff is about unity, baby. It's about coming together versus division. It's about serving versus taking. It's about uplifting versus tearing down. So please, please, please don't leave this space without understanding that. The power in this message today is about, hey, let me just share my own experience around something that's very real. No, I didn't make it to the NFL. Okay. Can't speak to that, but I can share with you those that I know did and made it. And more importantly, I challenge you to look up systemic racism and see what it talks about. In what areas? It's not only in sports, but in education and medical and society, just all over the place. And it's real. But here's the exciting part, ladies and gentlemen, is that we can't change the world, but we can change the circles that we're in. We can begin with our families. We can begin with our communities. And then once we get our families together and we're building that village again, and we got our communities together, then we can begin to make choices to put people in places that have different types of influence, man. So, boy, because I remember being in that space where we were really angry because they made a different decision on quarterback and we were really ready to quit, right? And all of us had D1 opportunities and we're going this way. But a game came up. It was a game that was so important to the school, so important to the team to win. I remember, we came together as a team and, we put everything aside. And at that moment, I realized the power of a common goal. I realized the power of team unity. I realized the gift that I had when I stopped thinking about things I can't control and focus on the things I can control and then make a difference later. So my challenge to you today is, as I wrap this up, man, I'm going a little longer than I wanted to, is, take next time you're watching an NFL game and there's a commentator out there and he's talking and you have a black quarterback and you have a non-black quarterback, listen to the messages that they're saying about the quarterback. Oh, well, he went to this school because he couldn't figure out some of the systems at this school. And now he's behind and I'm not sure he's going to make it, right? These are commentators that have been saying this crap for a long time, man. And then watch the same player of the same caliber that is not of color. And the reason why he threw the interception was because the receiver went the wrong way, or it was a rainy day and the ball was wet, or the coach and they weren't on the same page. Clearly not his fault. Man, check that out. Go back and if you're really a football buff, watch what I'm talking about, man. I hear it all the time. That's why I don't really watch a lot of sports. I mean, I watch the Super Bowl because I like to eat and hang out with my wife. But man, the messaging is subtle and it's real. So anyhow, listen, stay tuned. As I wrap up, I want to invite you to Conversations with Jeff show tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central, where we have a guest that's coming in here, Janet Leonard, and she is, I call her a technology whisperer because she knows so much stuff. And when she talks about it, it's just like anybody can understand it. Business owners, educators, people that run in the household, man, you want to be there for this show. And this lady's got some things that she's going to give away during the show, so you don't want to miss it. So listen, YouTube folks, I'll tell you one more time, subscribe, tag your friends, hit the bell, and your Facebook folks, share this, tag your friends, and get ready. And as I leave you, I want you to tell you this. There's no better time than now when your thoughts can make a difference. There's no better time than now. Stop being ignorant and step into information. There is no better time than now for us to rally together, baby. Let's make a difference, one person at a time. All right. Hey, got to run. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.